Welcome to the Vikings Now. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. On today's show, we actually have a loaded show, and a show I personally am very excited to talk about because we're talking about quarterbacks, we're talking about Kirk Cousins, we're talking about Lamar Jackson. There's been a ton of Lamar Jackson rumors floated out there and kind of connecting the Minnesota Vikings to Lamar Jackson. Then we're also going to be talking about The Athletic. The Athletic just put out a recent mock draft that had the Vikings trading up and drafting a certain quarterback, which I am going to be giving you guys my thoughts on and all. Again, I am self-producing this video, so if it is going a little slow, be patient with me. But we do have some news coming in here. Breaking news out right before I went live. The Vikings did sign a former Los Angeles Ram, Brandon Powell, who is expected to, I'd probably say he's probably going to be our return guy, and that's about it. Brandon Powell, he was with Kevin O'Connell when he was with the Los Angeles Rams. He's a good speed kind of gadget guy. I don't mind the signing. Honestly, with Jalen Reagor most likely out the door, I think we probably have our new return man in Brandon Powell. So just some news to kind of throw your guys' way. Brandon Powell, you are a Minnesota Viking. And guys, we're closing in on Saints Now and the Broncos breakdown here at Chat Sports. I will ask you guys this. Hit that subscribe button. We're covering the Vikings, news, rumors, whatever it may be. I want the Vikings channel to be one of the top channels here at Chat Sports. And how are we going to let the New Orleans Saints channels, our rivals, one of the best out-of-division rivalries we have for the Minnesota Vikings, beat us? It's free. Hit that subscribe button right now. It really helps me out. Plus, I can rub it into my friend Trace Gerard out there who runs our Saints channel. He's a diehard Saints fan. So go down there, hit that subscribe button. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson to the Minnesota Vikings. So Jeremy Fowler listed the Minnesota Vikings as a Lamar Jackson destination. Yes, you heard me right. Jeremy Fowler, a big-time reporter in the NFL, actually listed the Vikes as a potential Lamar destination. If you guys don't remember, the Ravens placed the non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson, which pretty much allows other teams to potentially trade for Lamar Jackson. If you guys do remember, earlier this, right after this happened, a ton of teams actually came out and said they are not going to pursue Lamar Jackson. Teams we thought that would have, like the Commanders, like the Falcons, a ton of other teams, like, for example, the Colts also said they were out. So then you're kind of looking around the rest of the NFL, and there's not many options left, and could it be the Minnesota Vikings? I'll give you guys my thoughts on that in a second. But if we're just talking Lamar being the passer of the football he is, here are his passing stats over the last 4 seasons. This past year, obviously, he had injuries. 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The year before that, he also dealt with the injury bug with 16 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. But if you look at that 2019 and 2020 season, when the Ravens were humming, this is when Lamar was at his best. These are just his passing stats. 2020, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And then that MVP year, actually, I'll correct myself, the unanimous MVP from the 2019 season, giving you 36 touchdowns, which led the NFL, and 6 interceptions. Lamar Jackson is an all-time player, or is an all-time great player in the NFL, and this would be an all-time move for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, this would be kind of the Vikings pushing all the chips to the center of the table if they were going to go out and trade for a Lamar Jackson. Now, how the kind of non-exclusive tag works. The Vikings would need to give up 2 first-round picks to acquire Lamar. It's not even like it's just a rule the NFL have. It's not a debate between the GMs. It's literally just that's how the non-exclusive tag works. If you want to trade for one of those players, you have to give up 2 first-round picks. So in my opinion, this would be an all-in move on Lamar. We're going to go get our franchise quarterback and pair him up with Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, and TJ Hawkinson and make it work on offense. But this is something I do want to talk about. I wonder how Justin Jefferson would feel about this. I wonder if Justin Jefferson, if this would be a thing where he would be excited about it because he's getting maybe an upgrade at quarterback by getting a guy like Lamar Jackson, or would he be kind of upset because obviously Kirk Cousins, I think we would all agree, is a better pure thrower of the football than Lamar, and that obviously directly affects Justin Jefferson's stats. So I am curious if a guy like Justin Jefferson, if he would be upset or if he would be kind of ecstatic about trading for a guy like Lamar Jackson. But before I get into it even more, I want to get your guys' thoughts. And if you guys are in the live chat, let me know. Do you want to trade for Lamar Jackson? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass. This has been going back and forth on Vikings Twitter. This is my favorite part of the job. I really get to gauge how you guys feel about this. So let me know. T for trade or P for pass. Just go down in the comments right now and let me know. Now, why it won't happen. I got 3 reasons on why it won't, and then I'm going to hit you guys with 3 reasons why I think it might. Number 1, Kirk has a no-trade clause. We just can't really beat around that bush. I mean, Kirk Cousins literally has a no-trade clause. If he doesn't want to go to Baltimore or if he doesn't want to go somewhere else, it just won't happen. And I think Kevin O'Connell, KOC, he loves accurate quarterbacks. I mean, obviously every coach in the NFL wants their quarterback to be more accurate than not. But I think the Kevin O'Connell system that he runs, it suits better for having an accurate quarterback run that system. And also number 3, reports are out there that Lamar wants the bag. He wants that fully guaranteed deal. He wants that Deshaun Watson type of money. So those are kind of 3 reasons why I just don't think the Vikings would want to go all in on a guy like Lamar. But if we're taking the positive outlook on this, on why it could happen, yes, we love Kirk Cousins. But the Vikings eventually are going to need to get a quarterback of the future. They're eventually going to have to go get their cornerstone franchise type of player. And yes, you could make the argument, we could go get that in the draft. Well, listen, Lamar Jackson, any of these quarterbacks coming out, he's more certain than that. He's already gotten the unanimous MVP. He's already been to the playoffs. He even already has a playoff win. And also my 3rd reason, I think ownership. I think the Wilfs. And maybe you guys can disagree with me on this, but I think the Wilfs would want to go all in on a guy like Lamar. I think the Wilfs, of what they've shown, spending money just on the facilities and just other players in the past, the Wilfs are not scared to spend money. I think they would be willing to pay big, especially for a guy like Lamar. So those are 3 reasons of why I don't think it could happen and why I do think it could happen. Overall, though, I think he would be the right move if we would go all in on a guy like that. But I do want to throw this at you. How far do you think Kirk Cousins can lead the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs? Do you think Kirk Cousins is a divisional round quarterback, conference championship round quarterback, or is he just a wild card round quarterback with a good team around him? How far do you think Kirk Cousins can lead this Minnesota Vikings team? We got to talk about it. It's mock draft season. The draft is just over a month away. And The Athletic, this is not a joke. The Athletic had, in the recent mock draft, had the Minnesota Vikings trading up to number 7 with the Las Vegas Raiders and drafting Will Levis. And when I saw this, I kind of laughed at it at first. Then I started thinking about it. I mean, do I think this is going to happen? No, but this would be extremely interesting. And plus, it's just fun to talk about. But starting off with the trade, let's break it down there first. This was the trade the Athletic kind of proposed here is the Vikings will get the 7th overall pick. We'll get the 204th overall pick in this year's draft. And then the Raiders would get our 23rd overall pick, another 84th overall pick. Sorry, I was supposed to say number 84. And then a 2024 first round pick. So you're pretty much going to giving up your 3rd for a 5th. And then pretty much you're swapping first rounders and tacking on another first round pick on top of that. But this is specifically what the Athletic had to say, because I was like, they have to explain themselves on why they think the Vikings could trade up. So this is what they had to say. The Vikings' future at quarterback is in question. Kirk Cousins remains under contract through 2023. The team has yet to extend him. Until they do, thinking about the team's next throw over the football is worthwhile, which it is. I don't disagree. They carried on to say this. Though it might be tempting to save key 2024 draft capital, especially with the potential QBs in next year's draft, talking about Caleb Williams, Drake May, the Vikings could benefit from adding a QB now, a season to learn head coach Kevin O'Connell's system would be a benefit. I like this idea, but I don't love it. I like it on paper, man. You know, you get a guy like Will Levis, a top quarterback in this year's draft. You could have him kind of sit under Kirk Cousins' wing for a year, learn the offense, and kind of have him kind of be that franchise guy. But I don't love Will Levis, the prospect. Again, like he said in the quote, if this was for a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, a Patrick Mahomes type of prospect, I would be all in on this. Again, I like this idea. I don't love it. I'll be giving you guys more thoughts on just Will Levis specifically here in a second, but I do want to ask you guys this. Do you want to draft Will Levis? If you guys traded up, Vikings draft day, traded up to number 7 overall, would you want to draft Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback? Is he somebody out of all the quarterbacks in this year's draft? Maybe you guys could even give me a name of an Anthony Richardson, whoever it may be. Do you want to draft Will Levis? Just give me a Y for yes or a N for no. Guys, we also do have a great deal going on at Fanatics. I love hooking you guys up with this because, hey, we'll get notifications from Fanatics when they have great deals going on. And they got great deals going on these Vikings jerseys. So shout out to Fanatics. If you guys go to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, you guys can get one today. They're only on sale for limited time. I'm going to have more thoughts on this Will Levis thing in a second. But if you guys want to go to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, get yourself a Vikings jersey today. Now, why I think it could work. Let's just say the Vikings do end up trading for, Will Levis, which I don't think they will. But why I think it could work and why I think really any young quarterback coming into this system this year, I think could really benefit from it. You have great young weapons. I mean, let's not forget Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson. I mean, any quarterback coming out of college, to give them the safety blanket of TJ Hawkinson and then give them that star player of Justin Jefferson, I'm sure they are all in for it. And number 2, they could sit behind Kirk Cousins. I mean, like we were saying, Kirk Cousins is no doubt probably going to be the Vikings quarterback next season unless, like we were talking about, unless they trade for Lamar Jackson. So you're probably going to sit behind Kirk for at least a year. And then also, you have a young offensive head coach in Kevin O'Connell. I know this might be a safe take to have here, but I think offensive coaches are just working better in the NFL compared to defensive coaches. You look at the final 4 teams in this year's NFL, all offensive guys. I just think it benefits the quarterback more. Quarterback is the most important position in football by far. I think having an offensive head coach really helps. And then also the Vikings, they have a franchise left tackle in Christian Darrisaw too, which always helps a young quarterback. But Will Levis this past season, again, the numbers are not going to blow you away. Will Levis, he's an interesting prospect to me because he has that boom potential in him, but I just don't know where his floor is. I mean, 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. I don't know. I don't know how I would really feel about Will Levis. But like I was saying, I think Will Levis is a very, very interesting prospect. I think Will Levis, would he be my top quarterback out of this year's draft? Of course not. But he is a top 5 quarterback in this year's draft. A lot of GMs like him more than not. But he's an interesting prospect because his numbers don't really scream top 10 pick. But that arm talent does, and he has a great arm, and maybe if you just get the right support system around him, it could work. He's an interesting prospect. It was kind of my thoughts on Lamar Jackson, Will Levis, and everything. But if you guys made it to the end of today's video, just give me a real one down below. I love kind of checking the comments each night before I go to bed and seeing where all the real ones are at. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is today's video. Lamar Jackson, Will Levis, loaded show on today's slate. See you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.